Good evening. Welcome to the regular council meeting for the city of Freeport, March 28th, 2024. Please stand for invocation and pledge.
Father, we thank you, Lord, for the day that you've given us. We thank you, Lord, for your many blessings. We pray, Father, that you will just lead us, guide us, and direct us, and we'll give you the honor and the glory for this. We ask in thy name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening again. We understand there are a number of people here who may wish to address the council. In order for the meeting to proceed in an orderly manner, be advised that public comments on any issue before the council will be accepted after the city council has concluded their initial discussion and received input from staff. When we ask for public comment, please raise your hand. You will be recognized to approach the podium, and at that time, you will need to state your name for the record and spell your last name. We ask that you limit your remarks to 3 minutes. After public comment has concluded, the council will readdress the issue at hand prior to action being taken. We also ask that you please silence your phones and please refrain from talking during the meeting. To begin tonight's meeting, I'd like to recognize a couple of guests. First, we have Commissioner Boots McCormick, the County Commissioner for District 1. Thank you for joining us tonight. And tonight we have the newly crowned Miss Freeports for 2024. And I'm going to ask them to come up and introduce themselves to you so you'll know who they are. Face them.
Hi, I'm Madison Wilson from 2024 Miss Freeport. Hi, I'm Emily Jeffrey, 2024 Team Miss Freeport.
Good evening, I'm Scarlett Nunes, your 2024 Junior Team Miss Freeport. Hello, my name is Shia Trout, and I am the 2024 County Miss Freeport. Hello, I'm Leonard Blunier, I'm your 2024 Junior Miss Freeport. My name is Emily, and I'm 2024 Miss Freeport.
Congratulations, ladies. We look forward to working with you this next year. If you'll just come up in front of the podium so that we can get a picture with all of the council members for the newspaper, that will be great.
Thank you all.
Thank you, ladies. Next, we have the consent agenda. Under tab 1 are the bills for the city of Freeport. Under tab 2 is the regular council meeting minutes for February the 22nd, 2024. Under tab 3 is the regular council meeting minutes for March the 5th, 2024. Under tab 4 is the budget amendment number 1. Tab 5 is the revenue and expenditure report through February of 2024. And tab 6 is the water and wastewater capacity fees under tab 6. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? If not, I'll ask the council for approval.
Make a motion, we approve it. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried. Are there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda?
Mayor,
I'm sorry.
I have one. I'd like to put transfer station.
And I also have a couple under city manager grant requests. I'll explain it later. And then under utility billing, Rebecca's going to have some information for y'all, just the info on these things.
Okay.
Okay. And I have one, please. I'd like to discuss the National Day of Prayer. Any others? If not, I'll ask for approval for the additions to tonight's agenda.
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
Excuse me, motion's been made and seconded. Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under staff reports, first on the agenda is parks.
Joe Roboto, Walton County Parks and Rec Department. First, I'd like to apologize to the council for my attire. I literally just came off the soccer fields.
You're great.
That's okay.
I'm actually coaching 2 teams in our Freeport League. We're mainly here, I just want to let everyone know and reassure the county Parks and Rec Department and the Freeport Parks and Rec Department have always worked very well together. We are all acutely aware of our problem with field space. When we first started doing soccer up here, our first season we had 70 children. We only did a fall season. We are now doing spring and fall. My spring registration for soccer is 384 kids.
Wow, that's amazing.
So not only do you have that, our soccer program going on, you have your Little League program going on, you have travel baseball going on. We all know that we need more fields. The county is constantly looking for space. Right now, we have none. We are all trying to look for alternatives. We're trying to work with the school district. As a county, we have no parks in Freeport. When the city of Freeport originally put in Freeport Regional, that's why the county wanted to help. We knew we did not have parks in here. I've spoken with Commissioner McCormick. We are constantly trying to find space, but we just do not have anything that would be appropriate. I know the city had some property. We also looked at that. There's really nothing we can do with that. It's too much wetlands.
Right.
So we are looking at ways to increase our capacity. Right now, we don't have any answers. I wish we did. But I'll continue to work with Charles, continue to work with Ann. We will figure something out. In the meantime, we make it work.
Right.
It's not always easy. We get some grumbling from the parents, but even the parents realize it, and they're willing to make it work. I just wanted to come before you guys and say thank you. The county appreciates your willingness to work with us, and we will always be working with you.
Can I say something?
Thank you.
Can I say something, Mayor, real quick?
Yes, Councilwoman Hafner.
And Joe, we appreciate everything you're doing, working with our team. I know my kids have played soccer with the county as well. It's amazing. I know how hard you're working with all the parks in the county, so I appreciate everything your team is doing, working with our team as well. So we all know Freeport growth was, what, at 220% in the last census data, so we're growing. We're trying to find more space as well and help out, but I really appreciate everything that you're doing as well.
It's our pleasure.
So thank
I
you.
enjoy it. I mean, I'm coaching 2 teams. I'm the official. the fall gatherer. But we make it work, and the kids enjoy it, and the families enjoy
Right.
it. That's what's important.
Right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
So just to that point, and I don't want to commit anybody to anything, but there are two developers and developments coming in the next little bit, it may be a little bit, that are both committed when they originally
I'll
were
discuss
talked
that under
about.
my updates tonight.
For
We
what?
do have some options coming available, but they're not going to solve our immediate problems. Ann's going to speak to that.
Yes, so while we're waiting for hopefully potential space in the future, one of the things that we can do now is ask for your approval to move forward to develop the undeveloped land that is in the sports complex behind the parks building. So it does have lights and it is zoned for a multi-purpose field.
Yeah.
So we can do that and it's ready to go with your approval. We can go ahead and with the engineering involved.
Right, they're wanting permission from the council to come up with a plan to add additional fields, so that requires council approval to do so, before we can base engineering and all
Yeah,
those things.
sounds great.
Absolutely.
Make a motion?
Make a
So we
motion.
need a motion for that?
Yes, we do.
You want to make it?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
A motion's been made and seconded to use the property behind the concession stand to
Start working on it.
create more fields,
A multi-purpose field.
multi-purpose fields.
Yeah, spot you find.
Yeah.
Any discussion?
I do have a question.
Councilman Ferris.
What about with the rodeo, where they do it?
So if a field is developed, then yes, it would be a field, and the rodeo would not be able to go there. They would have to find another location, because it would be a field, and hopefully a turf field. So it's not a field that could be torn up on a yearly basis for rodeo. But based on everything that we've said, having a field that we can use for the entire year, over and over and over, is probably more important to the community than
And
Maybe
one
we
in
can,
the
maybe we
next
can help them
one.
find another spot for their rodeo.
the rodeo is a great event, but you know,
Maybe we can help them find another space.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I like, we try to
Yeah,
find
we
something
can probably
for
try to
them.
help them find another space.
You have a year.
Yeah, we've got a year to
Yeah, we've
look.
got a year to help them find another space, yeah.
Any further discussion? Any public comment?
But
Count,
I do have a comment to make, but it's more in reference to his part of the conversation, but not.
let us
We'll
get
take
this
the vote and you
vote
can talk.
and then we'll do it. Okay, no further discussion? Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Councilman-
Mr. McCormick.
Commissioner McCormick.
Just for record, William McCormick, I'm the District 1 County Commissioner for this area, and I'm here tonight as the district representing my district, not the full board. I just want to be here in support of Joe.
Yeah.
We understand the issues with the baseball fields. Trust me, we deal with it on a very, very large scale. It is the desire of this commissioner to try to help out in this area where we can. I will tell you what efforts have been done, so we don't beat the same bushes. The problem for me right now is the only parcel I have is the 10 acres out there by the landfill, and it's not big enough. So I would more than glide totally towards try to do something with that. But according to Joe, with the weight, it's just not big enough. The closest piece of property, and this is a long shot if we could even afford it, that would accommodate this is almost any ox cemetery grave. And I just don't believe going that far out of town, people would, they'd just be hitting you for more. We don't want to drive all the way out there, so they put more burden. But I say this from a position of I would love to have some ballparks, county ballparks. And we're working the problem, we just don't have a solution yet. And my commitment, I have voted in issues with our other ballparks in favor of spending millions of dollars. We're actually reconfiguring McCall Ballpark to reconfigure it to add more ball fields. So I'm a bit, again, I don't know how much money we spend outside the county for everybody else, but I don't even have a ballpark in my district, and I would love to see one. So I think if we keep working together and maybe we can come up with something. But I just want to show our dedication. We feel your pain too, and I would love to see a ballpark in my district somewhere, either in the city or outside. All right, so just don't think we don't care about our children here inside of Freeport. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May I speak on one point? To Commissioner McCormick's point, the 10-acre lot, if you're actually going to build fields, you have to think about all the support structure that has to go along with it. So you have to have parking facilities, you have to have the restroom facilities, you have to have concessions, and you also have to have maintenance there. And 10 acres, we can maybe get one field. That's, for the money you would spend doing that, it's not worth it to try to do something with 10 acres. And I myself am a Freeport resident. I agree with Commissioner McCormick. I would love to see county fields here. So we are working towards that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope any suggestions are given.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other updates on park?
Manny Vitale.
Mr. Vitale?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Councilors. What Joe and Boots just mentioned just drives home the point that I've been talking about for about the last year because it affects me personally. My grandson, who's now 11 years old, the league that he plays in, because of the size requirements of the field, he's not allowed to, he signs up in Freeport, but he can't play here in Freeport. He has to drive down to South Walton to play his games. He did last year, and he has to do it again this spring. And I don't mind doing that. I'll make sure he gets there. But two of his friends don't have transportation to get all the way down to South Walton, so they haven't signed up to play. So until we can solve these problems, there's kids in Freeport that would be love to be playing playing soccer, but they're not allowed to. Until we can solve this and get more space for our kids. So that's not just my grandson who's in the 11, 12 year age group, but also the kids in the 13, 14 year age group. They all have to travel to South Walton to play what is supposed to be Freeport soccer. So it's a real problem.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any other updates on park? That's it? Okay. City manager?
Good evening, council. First item I have is a labor agreement with the county sheriff's department. It's time to just renew it. No significant changes. Clerk made some informational changes, and the sheriff's department made some informational changes. It's basically a roll.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner?
Aye.
Councilman Day?
Aye.
Councilman Ferris?
Aye.
Councilwoman Brandon?
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, council. The next item is the request for additional CEI time on 83 water main improvements. That's to have full-time inspectors out there. I believe Larry has covered this with most of y'all. Just looking for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Any public comment?
Inspection.
She wants to know what it means.
What is it, Ben?
Construction and engineering.
Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brandon.
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you again. Third request is a motion to approve the same thing for the County Road 3280 water main extension project. Same exact request.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded. Further discussion? Public comment? Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brandon.
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, council, I moved to one of my add-ons. I actually said it was one add-on, 3 different requests that I need 3 different motions for. So the first one, you have a single-page email in front of you from the Water Management District. We have applied for a grant for a water tower on 3280 with pumps and tanks and the whole 9 yards. And they sent us basically saying that if the county will, if the city will commit to some kind of a match, that it would probably help our chances. And so obviously that's something we need your approval. We could put a limit on it if we can do that, Clay. They recommended anywhere, or in talking with Tim, with Liberty Partners, they recommend somewhere between 15 to 50. So I was gonna say if we can make a motion to provide a match up to 50,000.
If that's what you would like to do, that would be the way to style it. It'll be a match in the amount up to that amount.
The single one. Just need a motion on that.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any other discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day. Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, council. And next is the 2-page email that I gave y'all, which is from Liberty Partners. And last year we had submitted something to Congressman Neil Dunn's office for a Marquee Way connector. That we didn't get anything from that, so they're requesting permission to resubmit that. Maybe we just
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day. Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Last but not least, I asked if we could make 2 requests to Congressman Dunn's office, so we're going to request sewer plant money. So I just need a motion for request.
I'll make
To
that
allow
motion.
Liberty Partners to make that request.
So motion's been made
And second.
and second. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner. Councilman Day. Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Very much. That's all I have.
City Clerk.
Good evening, council. In your packet, you have an asset deletion request for administration. Going through the copy, I found a few things that were obsolete and broken, and I just need a motion to accept or approve the asset deletion request.
I'll make that motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day. Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I had an add-on for billing.
Billing. Yes.
So I'll just preface this with, some of the council has asked about the ability for us to be able to text late notices and instead of doing robocalls, do both. So Rebecca has been at it and she can,
Diligently working on it. So over the last few months, I have been looking at ways to better streamline our communications and add some more services than what we have. Right now, all we're able to do is robocalls twice during the month. And currently, we're spending right at $1,200 a year to do those 2 to get the word out about late in the day and disconnect day. We've had some updates in our billing system, and that has given us the opportunity to pull in a new vendor. This vendor is used by Lyft, Uber, Microsoft, and Netflix. They do robocalls, they also do text messaging. And with the cost of adding another service, it actually decreases our cost to like $420 something a year. So it's about a third of the price of what we're spending now. I've gotten the approval from the city manager to go ahead and make that change. So over the next couple of months, I'll be trying it to see how it works and then making the full change over to that. So it'll be 2 services for a third of the cost of what we're spending.
That's great.
Fantastic, that's
Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
We don't need any type of a motion.
I don't believe so this time.
Okay? Thank you. Planning.
Good evening, council. You may remember back in May, you authorized us to work with a committee about the Anchored in Freeport project. This project is to help beautify, and it falls under our public parks project, to give us a placemaking setting for Freeport. Because our logo is an anchor, we decided to call it Anchored in Freeport, and the committee has been meeting to design the anchors, and they've come up with a prototype, and they are ready to start rolling out the sponsorship portion of this. So Tracy Lofting is our chairperson, and she is here. She'd like to give you a little PowerPoint on what they've accomplished and where it's going next.
Great. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, council. Thank you for having me here with you this evening. And I will tell you, this project is more than I was anticipating. A lot of moving parts, and in fact, as we move through the presentation, I'm going to have an update to pass around in terms of sponsorships. Again, a lot of moving parts and pieces, but I did want to come before you today, share with you an update, let you know where we are, and get your support and feedback as we move forward. So I'll just jump right in. Again, when I met with you back in May, we talked about program goals for an art and public spaces project here in the city of Freeport that would allow us to unite our community, bring beautification, bring that sense of place for both visitors and residents to our area. And we talked about, obviously, the anchor being the perfect symbol. And, at the time, Anchor Grow here was just sprouting out. And so, again, I think the anchor being that perfect symbol. So we formed a committee based on your recommendation and try to pull different folks from the county, obviously working very closely with the planning department. The tourism department is involved. The Cultural Arts Alliance is involved. We've been using Estelle as our local artist here in Freeport to represent the artist community. And we have members of Christ the King Church, as well as myself and my friend Frank, who is also helping on this project. So I'm going to give you an update on our progress thus far. We have been working with Bill at Castaways. He is a local business, and he works in concrete. And so again, there was a lot of different options. We really began looking at, next door in Niceville, they did fiberglass with their herons. We really thought that concrete is a more long-lasting material. We want to do something that's built to last, that's not going to fall apart. And again, we really want to keep this local and keep everything here in Walton County. So Bill at Castaways has been our partner through this project. Our next partnership that's been critical in this process is with the Cultural Arts Alliance of Walton County. We're really blessed. They have an art and public spaces program that's been established. Again, it has some structure. It has programming that we can kind of roll up under and use their expertise in this space. So they have agreed to sort of be the cornerstone and, again, oversee the call to artists, assist with the financials. Again, we needed sort of a nonprofit where we could collect that sponsorship money. They could help write those expense checks, work with us on the screening process. Again, use all their learnings that they've done through their Art and Public Spaces program. Obviously, again, working very closely with the Freeport Planning Department. Matilda and Samantha have been amazing in guiding us through this process. And really trying to, again, fit in with programs we already have in place. So as we start looking at the approval process of where we would put these anchors, there's a program already in place for roadside signage. We think we could adapt that application process and, again, easily modify that for this program. In a minute here, I'm going to share with you some of the budget numbers that we've been looking at in terms of costs. put this program together. And again, the draft of the sponsorship form, which I supplied you one 2 weeks ago, but again, ever changing and again, constantly having meetings with folks in the community to want to make sure we have thought of everything and really shored things up here. And then, so next steps as we see it, after I share with you a little bit tonight, we'd like to get approval on this sponsorship program, go out and be able to solicit sponsors. We're still in talks with transportation partners. Again, you're going to need to transport these anchors from their place of fabrication to somewhere where the artist can work and design them and decorate them. And then, of course, they'll have to have transportation to their final resting place. Right now, we're talking with Sunbelt Equipment. They are a partner of the Cultural Arts Alliance and expressed interest in being able to work with us in this capacity. Also, we're reviewing insurance options. Again, the CAA kind of having some programs underway, including the Underwater Museum, and they have to transport some very, very large structures. So they have some insurance things underway. Again, we would want to prepare for any risk, and if somebody were to be injured, he's moving around, which hopefully that would not be the case. But again, we want to make sure we have shored up and thought of everything. Once the cast is made, obviously moving forward with fabricating the anchors, there is a heavier initial cost with the casting and making that first anchor. Once that first anchor is produced, the replication of it goes pretty smoothly, and again, you already have invested in that cast. And then, of course, calling for artists and the CAA, obviously, with their network into the artist community, and again, assistance with that application process. And we'll assist with the selection process along with our committee. So just real quick, again, kind of rolling up under their Art and Public Spaces program. Again, they have a space on their website. We would want to make this available both on the City of Freeport website as well as their website. I think, again, more visibility that we can have for the program as well as the partners. It's just going to make perfect sense. Again, looking at that open call to artists, we would be looking at Walton County artists. Again, we want to celebrate Walton County with Freeport artists being a preference. Obviously, again, we want to utilize our own talent right here in our backyard. Again, here's an example of one of their Art and Public Spaces programs. They have the Monarch Trail down near Alice Beach. And again, they've done a really nice job of soliciting artists to be involved with that. Each structure has its own web page, which is really nice because, again, you can kind of tell that story. You can talk about the artists behind it. We can also give recognition to the sponsors who make that happen. So again, the custom pages. Then there's also an overarching map that goes with it. Again, we would envision something similar here in the city of Freeport, a map of our town that has markings down where you can find these anchors. And on each anchor would be a plaque at the bottom that has a QR code that, again, would link to that page and provide people more information about that structure and the artists and the people involved. So just kind of taking a look at where we are in terms of budgeting. Again, as I mentioned, that first anchor would be about $3,600 out of the gate. Now, again, that is the casting as well as the concrete pouring. So for that price, you do end up, you have one full anchor completed. And then the additional cost is $1,200 for each additional anchor. We did some math, and really 8 anchors is kind of the number where we think we could underwrite that all, it would cover the cost of that initial cast, and again, get the other 7. Again, some estimates here based on talking to Sunbelt Equipment on what it would take to rent those trucks, as well as the forklift, because again, it's going to be a big heavy anchor, and we're going to have to be able to move those around. This next number was really trying to find that right number. Our committee started very low, but then after meeting with the Cultural Arts Alliance of Walton County and some of their programs, they said we really need to offer an artist stipend at minimum of $1,000. This is going to cover their materials to decorate, and again, do their work on it, as well as, again, any artist time or drive time or whatever that might entail. And I guess they're used to paying these artists around, $5,000, and they said, really, you don't want to go under $1,000 if you want the quality of the work. And again, I think we want something that we're really going to be proud of here in our town. So I don't want to skimp and then not get the quality that we're looking for. Of course, we're going to need some sealant on these pieces, a base seal, and then a top coat seal, because again, we want them to remain looking beautiful, and it's something we're very proud of over time, and they will be out there weathering in the elements, so the sealant will be important. And then a small budget for marketing. Again, we want to be able to have those maps to hand out, and some banners recognizing our sponsors at that dedication event. that I had spoke about last time we presented. So I just gave you an updated sponsorship form that we can take a look at. So we're really thinking the captain level, that would be basically your anchor in front of your business at the $3,000 level. That gives you more control, if you will. Again, anything is going to have to be approved by the city of Freeport. It's going to have to go through the planning department to make sure that it is in the proper location. It's not blocking any right of way. All of those sort of considerations going into it. But again, if you're one business, you want to pay $3,000. This anchor is dedicated to you. So once the artists are approved, be part of that artist selection to say, oh my gosh, I know. To say Justin Gaffrey is one of our artists, which we're kind of hoping for, they could select that particular artist. So here's the prototype that we're working from right now. Again, we wanted to have it large enough and have enough surface area that the artist could work with it. This anchor is about 4 feet tall and then would sit on about a base maybe 8 to 12 inches tall, again, providing that foundation. The installation process, Bill said he would make the bases where they had 2 holes in it so we can bolt them into the ground, maybe some rebar, again, we have to look at that, and I want to work with maybe some your technicians here in the city to, again, make sure we are building something that is built to last, that is not going to fall over, that can withstand elements. Again, if a car were to run into one of these, we really want it to, again, built to last. So again, as we spoke about last time, we would look at locations throughout town. Again, we think that this is going to be driven by the sponsors and the businesses in terms of where people want to have them, or again, city locations. So again, this is just an example. This business wanted to participate to have one there on a significant corner. Some other locations, again, we talked about last time, maybe here in front of City Hall. I know Jay Edo has expressed interest having maybe a couple acres, one in front of Hammock Bay, one at the regional sports complex. So again, these locations could be dictated. I know Estelle, that's where her gallery is. Obviously, Christ the King Catholic Church, where this idea came from, they're on board for an acre as well. So again, community partnerships being so important, and again, we really want this project to be all-inclusive, as you can kind of see from the committee that we have developed right now, and always welcoming new members, or if you have ideas of other people you think should be serving on our committee. Again, once we get your approval and kind of start getting this off the ground, we have lots of partners who are ready to help us to provide exposure from the tourism department to the Walton Erie Chamber of Commerce. We have community support, and again, everybody that we have mentioned this idea to, their eyes light up, they're super excited, and they're interested in being involved, and we have to say, okay, we'll just wait, we're still in the creation phase. And then, of course, once we get to the end of the road, we obviously want to have a dedication ceremony here, make this a citywide event, again, use it as an opportunity to unite the community. I'm envisioning maps. People can go around, they can see the individual anchors, and again, it creates a destination where people want to come, and residents are proud, and visitors want to come and check out what Freeport is all about. So next slide. Again, just talking about the benefits of our public places. I left this in here from last time because I think it's worth mentioning. Again, the cultural enrichment, the beautification, the tourism benefits, and again, leaving a legacy that we are proud of. So just to talk about next steps, I think we're looking for you today for maybe some support, project approval, any feedback that you have as we've kind of reached this milestone. Really want to hear your feedback on the sponsorship levels. So I mentioned the $3,000 level sponsor. The second level would allow 2 businesses to partner at $1,500 each. Maybe they're in a strip center together, or again, it makes sense for them to unite and partner on an anchor. And then below that level, it started getting too complicated to have too many businesses involved. So we really looked at, and I took this suggestion from the Cultural Arts Alliance, they have that Friends of category. So these are people who maybe don't want to make as large of an investment, but believe in this project and want to be involved in some way. Local businesses, individuals. At this $500 level, you're a friend of the program. This is sort of that fund that we're going to need for the installation of the anchors, the maintenance of the anchors, I was even thinking as I was putting this together, again, we might want to discuss lighting of the anchors. Maybe there's some opportunity to have solar-powered lighting, so again, as you're driving through town at night, they're illuminated, and again, it's just something special that you just feel when you enter our city. And then, so then I also know that Latilda and team are interested, obviously, in sponsoring an anchor in front of the planning department, obviously.
We have money in our public arts budget that we want to put toward putting an anchor in the new landscape buffer that's going to go in front of the planning and zoning department on 331. If the city wanted to use some of its public relations funds to put one out here in front of City Hall, that would be great. J. Odom, of course, has committed to purchasing 2 anchors for Hammock Bay, put them in 2 locations. As word gets out, this is going to become something that's community driven. This is one of 6 different public art projects that we've got going on right now. And it's just another way for us to reinforce how special the city of Freeport is. It really keys on our core values, being anchored in Freeport, being part of a community. It's anchored in its own identity, its own culture, its own history. It just really checks all the boxes in another way that we can illustrate just how special our community is.
I agree.
That's great.
Thoughts, comments, what do you guys think?
I think it's great. Thank you for all of your hard work and effort. It's wonderful.
They were just looking forward to continue on in this vein.
Do we need to make a motion for that, Clay?
I do think so.
Okay, I'll make a motion to continue.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to continue the project. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Any further discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day. Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you so much. Tonight, I'd like to request the second reading of the Watson Elliott rezoning and future land use change ordinances. We have 2 ordinances.
Because this is a small-scale amendment, it is a public hearing and is a quasi-judicial public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on the Watson Elliott future land use map amendment, change, or the rezoning will do those at the same time, although we will take 2 separate motions. Persons wishing to speak, including the applicant, applicant's representative, staff, including persons who simply wish to ask questions on this matter, do need to be sworn to this hearing. This time, please stand, raise your right hand, and repeat after me if you wish to speak on this item. That includes staff. I do hereby swear or affirm
I hereby swear or affirm
that the testimony I present
that testimony I present
will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you. Mayor, staff, and the audience are sworn. We may proceed with the public hearing for adoption.
reiterate that this is under David Foster.
I thought this was 6.
This is a
6.7.
part of a large parcel.
Right.
The entire parcel is in the 100-acre range.
The element,
but we
the
are
This is
ordinance
just the
itself
6,
is
right?
6.7,
That's
so
what I
we're
thought.
treating
Okay.
it for purposes
So
of,
just clarifying that this is
Yes.
a very small amount of a
It
much
is.
larger piece.
which is why
That's right.
it must be treated as a small scale.
That's right.
Staff is requesting to hold the second reading of the ordinance for adoption.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
has been made and seconded. Any other discussion?
For the future land use map, let's clarify that for the record. Start with the
There are 2
future,
ordinances, so that's.
you have 2
Yeah.
ordinances, so we'll
Land
start
use
with the
map.
future land use map.
Okay. Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day. Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
And that will be ordinance 2024-01, Kathy, or are we on a different number?
It would be 01.
Okay, 2024-01, if you'll read by title, please.
This is an ordinance amending the comprehensive land plan of the city of Freeport, specifically the future land use map, specifically the parcels identified with reference numbers 22, 1 South, 19, 23, 000, 020, 0000, 22, 1 South, 19, 23030-000-0760. 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0770. 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0780. 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0790. 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0800. 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0810. 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0820. 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0830. 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0840. 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0850. And 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0860, containing 1.35 acres more or less from the city future land use designation of EC, Environmental Conservation, to the city's mixed use MU, future land use designation. And now if I could get a motion for the second reading of the ordinance for the zoning map.
Motion on second reading to adopt the zoning map ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner?
Aye.
Councilman Day?
Aye.
Councilman Ferris?
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilman Dickey?
Aye.
That'll be ordinance number 2024-02.
An ordinance amending the zoning map series included by reference in Article 3 of the Land Development Code of the City of Freeport, specifically the parcels identified with property reference number 22-1 South 19-23000-020-0000, 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0760, 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0770, 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0780, 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0790, 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0800, 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0810, 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0820, 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0830, 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0840, 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0850, and 22-1 South 19-23030-000-0860, containing approximately 6.74 acres more or less, and described by the legal description contained in Section 1 below, amending the zoning assignment and assigning zoning from conservation and medium-density residential to general commercial. Thank you. Never heard of me. That was a long one. The next item that we have before us is is tab number 13 in your books. As the clerk's office has been doing, and as all of your departments have been doing, we're constantly evaluating old equipment and the need to remove things that are no longer current, like
things that are worn out. And what you have under tab 3 is a request for an asset deletion approval for the items that are attached in this. There's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 items that we found in our closet that don't work, aren't any good. We need to get rid of them. And we need council approval, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner. Councilman Day.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right. The next item I have before you is under tab 14. This is the land development code revisions that we've been working on for approximately the last 6 months. I did have opportunity to sit down with all of you for at least a portion of this and go through the items that we're doing. And I know that you're all very clear on what we're doing. There is a summary with the agenda item on what we're doing. It's clarifying language, streamlining processes, adding definitions. There was one small item that I felt like we needed to add in addition as part of this first reading. I've given you a page out of Article 5, it's 5-20. And on the driveway widths, as we reviewed building permits, there is a tendency in some neighborhoods and communities to go with a more luxurious home than instead of just having your standard 24 square foot home that's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's a more luxurious item that has additional bedrooms and the need for additional garages. 3-car garages, 4-car garages, and we're finding that it's very difficult to make that work with a 22-foot wide driveway, which is what the code allows now. So what we're saying is that if you're going to have a home that has 2 garages or less, that will maintain the 22-foot wide driveway, but if your home has 3 garages or more, that you'd be allowed to have a driveway that's approximately 30 feet. This would only apply to single-family homes, and it takes into consideration current design standards, which the old figure did not. And we would like to add this to the land development code revisions. You have that ordinance in your book with strike through and underline content. I can answer any questions you may have about any of those items in there. The staff is asking specifically for the land development code ordinance to hold first reading with the addition of the driveway width language, and to allow staff to advertise for second reading at an appropriate date in the future.
I'll make,
Go ahead.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded to approve. Any other discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day. Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brannon.
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
2 things I wanted to update you on. I've had the opportunity to speak to all of you at length in the recent months, and we've had several wonderful discussions about needs of the city and projects that we're working on, trying to stay on top of things. And I want you to know I appreciate those conversations so much, because it gives me much needed direction to hear your thoughts and feelings about how things are going. Before I go into the main event of what I wanted to talk about, I did want to touch on future recreation parks. I am working with 2 different developers right now who are committed to bring regional sports complex facilities to the city. We're not talking in the neighborhood of anywhere between 20 and 30 acres. In upland areas, I'm working with the Carr family. They're working on their master plan. Their property was brought in. They did their future land use amendment. They're preparing to submit their master plan for their development with some essential roadways that the city needs as part of this traffic circulation. But part of that is a regional sports complex facility. They're going to come to you in a few weeks and talk about their master plan, talk about the rezonings that they need, but they're also going to present to you a freestanding, they want to talk about a freestanding sports complex area that you're not going to have to travel through their development to get to. It's going to be accessible from outside the development. You're not going to have to travel through. It's going to be a great thing. we'll all sit down with you with some of those plans that come available, but I'm hoping in the very near future, we're going to be able to share some of that with you and get them on the road into the steps to where they can show you their plan for improved traffic circulation, their plan for the sports complex, and what they intend to add in terms of public benefit to the city. That's one. I'm also working with the Cruz Holdings, which is a developer who's looking at property that was held by MC Davis on 331 North. It's on the west side. It's actually south of Owl's Head and north of the preserve. It's a property that was actually had a future land use amendment when the preserve did, but they were not included when we did the rezoning. And someone has purchased that. They're about to go through that process. But in their preliminary plans, they are looking at also dedicating sports complex size area in order to help with their recreational requirement. I've reminded you before, but I'll remind you again, that in every residential development that comes into the city, we require them to meet recreation based on the population that they're creating. For the number of lots or the number of units, they have a recreational requirement, and that's why when you see plans for projects in the city, you're going to see recreational facilities within those plans. So there are on-site areas where their children can play, they can walk around, and it's always a mixture of active and passive recreation. We're seeing a lot of pickleball courts, we're seeing dog parks, we always see sidewalks, playing fields and those kinds of things. And I am acutely aware of us needing the ability to provide more recreational facilities. So those are, be thinking about that. That's very strategically located. Having a new park on 331 North would be ideal, because we have all that population that's coming up there, and having another park that's to the east, that's very strategic for us in order to be able to provide recreational opportunities for all our new population. So you'll be looking at that. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you, just in having casual conversations with you and with Mark, sometimes the city takes a bad rap on things over which they have no control whatsoever. On social media, people talking in stores, communicating in restaurants, and you know that old game, gossip that we all used to, some of us that are old, used to play in high school, where you line everybody up, and by the time you got to the end of the line,
You call old.
I call myself old, bud. So what I've done is come up with some talking points for you to discuss some of these matters, because I want to equip you to be able to deal with these questions as they come up. Basically, here's how it goes. And this is regarding public perception pertaining to new businesses and traffic. And as you know, this year the city has been inundated with opinions on social media and other avenues regarding new businesses that have come to Freeport and the businesses that are desired for Freeport. And just so that you know, I'm sure you know, but just so we say it out loud, in order for a national chain to move to Freeport, there are several basic pro forma requirements that must be met. One, we have to have population sufficient to provide enough targeted customers. This includes specific numbers of rooftops, tourism factors, and the perceived success of smaller businesses that are already located here. Big businesses are big for a reason. They do their research. They're not going to move here if they don't have enough customers. Two, employee base with the correct skills and training to sustain their business model. They're also looking at unemployment figures, What kind of jobs are available in this area? Do we have the kind of skills, the kind of education, the kind of certifications that are necessary for them to sustain their business? Are they going to be able to find their managers there? Are they going to be able to find their shop managers? Whatever that business happens to be, you have to have the employees or it does not work. And three, locational criteria. And this is critical to things that have to do with distribution, that have to do with people who are transporting goods from other areas into here. What is our access to interstate, railway, and in certain cases, airports? And this is critical information. The city council does not have the ability to pick and choose which companies want to be in Freeport. Until we match the criteria that I've mentioned above, especially in terms of growing population, we will continue to see at the level we are at right now, small and medium-sized commercial growth, because we don't have our big boy pants on yet. We're almost there, but we're not quite there yet. Now, related to this, but on the opposite side of that desire for the Targets, for the Costco's, for the Walmarts, are the complaints we get about traffic. Traffic on 331, traffic on Highway 20. Well, here's the thing. In order to get these big businesses that everybody wants, we're going to have more people. And they're not going to be driving tricycles and walking to work and walking where they're going to go. It's going to create more traffic. It's just a fact of life when you're a growing city. The Florida Department of Transportation decides when and if road improvements are warranted on state roads, and if they can apply for funding toward improvements on those roadways. As Councilman Dickey and I know firsthand, him being the chair, being on the TPO, and me being on the technical coordinating committee of TPO, with Ms. Brandon's experience on the TPO, Mr. Ferris's experience, Mr. Fudday's experience, you've all seen it. There's never enough money. It's got to go all over the district, and it's very competitive. And we're already disadvantaged because we have less voting power on the TPO than Okaloosa County. It's just a fact of life. These are what the things we have to deal with. Your staff, and I don't just mean me, I don't mean just my team, I mean engineering. We're all, our infrastructure team, we are conscientiously evaluating increases to population on 331 and 20. Particularly population concentrations at intersections, and we are advising developers to have warrant studies for roadway improvements submitted to DOT as a requirement of development approval. We are not willy-nilly saying, oh yeah, you're going to build a 1,000-lot subdivision, come on in, no, we won't worry about that. That's not how it works. Part of what they have to do when they're on a state road is they have to provide traffic studies, and they have to apply to DOT to find out whether or not they have to do turn lanes, whether or not the size of their development warrants a traffic light. They have to do that. We're just not bringing development in here and say, here it is, just do what you will. We're making sure that they go through the proper channels and that we have done everything we can do to ensure that their impact is covered under DOT requirements and under the city requirements. And basically, I wanted to give you this little white paper so that when you are, for lack of a better word, attacked by somebody who's saying, y'all are causing all these problems, I wanted to give you some talking points so that you can say, here's what we're responsible for, this is what we do, this is what the state's responsible for. You don't want any traffic, but you want a big box development. Well, guess what? It is a balancing act, and we are a city. This is not a hamlet. This is not a village. It is a city, and it's a city that's growing. We're going to have traffic. If you want to, waiting in line is not bad. I travel to Jacksonville all the time. I travel to Tallahassee a lot. I travel to Pensacola probably every month. Yes, we have some traffic. Yes, there's a little delay, but it's moving.
Right.
I emphasize it continues to move. We're going to continue to evaluate. I know there are planned improvements with DOT. It's going to take longer than anybody wants. That's the nature of it. But in the meantime, this is just to give you a little ammunition so that you have something when you talk to people, you can say, you're blaming the council, but the council's not responsible for this. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to get you what you want, but this is how it works. This is how it really works. So that's just for you to have. I worry about you guys all the time because people don't care if you're eating your dinner at Bubble Jack's. They're going to come up and they're just going to start fussing at you about this and this and this and this. And you need to be prepared with some facts. And that's all I have tonight. Thank
You
you
want to
very
see
much.
traffic,
Thank you.
go to Gatlinburg.
Ooh, yes, you are
Thank
so
you,
right.
Matilda.
Thank you, Latilda.
Thank you, Matilda.
Did I do the reading of the ordinance? I don't think I
No.
did. Thank you, Sam. We always forget that. You did the vote and I didn't read the ordinance. Let me do that real quickly so that that is done. It's not as long as the other one. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. An ordinance amending the Freeport Land Development Code, Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, Article 5, Appendix A1, Appendix A2, Appendix B, and Appendix C, providing for authority of purpose, conflict, severability, and an effective date. Now I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Engineering.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Ben Blitz, Newberry Engineers. The first item that we have in the same vein of Latilda's discussion about growth and development, you all recognize that the city needed a new wastewater treatment plant or needed some additional wastewater treatment plant capacity. The city in January authorized staff to negotiate with Newberry Engineers for a new wastewater treatment plant at Bulldog Road and 331. We have provided the city with that proposal. It's an air mod package plant with an initial treatment capacity of 0.5 million gallons that is expandable to 2 million gallons. Dewberry will also assist the county with submitting for funding for SRF loans or any other additional funding that could be applied to that project. The action requested is to review and approve the proposal from Dewberry Engineers for $1.2 million for design and permitting of that wastewater treatment.
And we have that money in the budget in the form of ARPA funds that we need to spend before December.
We have the money, and it has to be spent by December 31st, 2026, or we just give it back to the federal government. And I don't think we want to do
We're
that.
gonna spend it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Any public comment?
The only thing I would say, as y'all all know, I'm tired of hearing me talk about it, but this is just a piecemeal way we're gonna have to do that because the odds of the federal, state, or the county, unless groups can really pull it off, writing this check for about 30 million, we're gonna have to do it this way.
Any further discussion? Public comment?
I think it's good.
Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day. Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
The second item is the water department is budgeted to repaint the interior and exterior of water tank number 4, which I believe is located on County Road 3280. Dewberry prepared and assisted the city in preparing the bidding documents and is requesting permission to advertise the bidding of the painting of the tank. But also the city has utilized Ed Chapman in the past to perform the inspection of the tank. Mr. Chapman has submitted a proposal for $12,750 to provide those inspection services. So this is a twofold motion. It is to authorize Mr. Chapman to perform that inspection for $12,750 and also authorize city staff to advertise bidding of repainting the tank.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded.
Jinx.
Any further comments? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day. Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. I guess the only thing, Councilwoman Brennan, I'll let you go first.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Last well, I guess it was this past Monday, I received several calls from several different people that live out on the east end of Highway 20. They were concerned and they wanted to know if there's anything that we could do because they're very upset that the transfer station, the county has made a vote to put a transfer station in on the city limit line. You know, we prohibit them in the city of Freeport. I've explained to them there's nothing that this council can do, that they would have to go to the county. While I agree with them, I just wanted to go on the record, let you guys know about it if you didn't know, and to say that I'm absolutely opposed to them putting that on the city limit line. It's nothing like where our, you know, welcome to Freeport sign's going to be right in front of a new transfer station. There's also a lot of potential growth right in that exact area. And it's definitely not going to do any favors for anybody trying to put anything in down on that end of town. I think it's the wrong location, and I just wanted to state my opinion and fact on that.
Any other comments on it?
The car property is actually
Yeah.
adjacent to that.
Yeah. the
I'm aware
property is
that
adjacent
some
to
of
it.
them that actually called me, the people that are wanting to donate money for a sports park and all this other stuff, they're not very happy about it. I'm not very happy about it for them. So that's, you know, I told them there's nothing we can do about it, but, you know, I could make everybody aware tonight.
Yeah, it's not good.
Okay, any other? The other thing that I have, National Day of Prayer is going to be May the 2nd at 6:00 p.m. And the past few years it's been held here at the City Hall. And I just need a motion and approval for that to be held here at the City Hall.
I make the motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day. Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
And Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you so much. I'll let them know that tomorrow. Is there any public comment? Anyone have anything? Mr. Manning.
Good evening, Mayor. This is High Priest Annas. I've traveled forward in time about 2,000 years, and I've traveled about 7,000 miles from Jerusalem to come here to Freeport. This week, starting tomorrow night at Freeport High School, we're going to reenact the last week of Jesus' walk on earth. From his triumphant entry into Jerusalem, his arrest, his conviction, and his crucifixion. It's going to be staged at Freeport High School. Admission is absolutely free, and I would propose that we could advertise this. This is a grassroots effort put on by all volunteers, about 30 of us, for all residents of Freeport, adults and children. We've been practicing twice a week since January, and we're going to do the best we can tomorrow night. And if you do attend, please give us grace, because a lot of us really don't know what we're doing. and it's the last hour. I mean, last night we had a dress rehearsal, makeup and all, and some of the mics weren't even working. So
Bad dress rehearsal means a good show.
well, I'm hoping it will. It's a great message, and it's going to be it shouldn't be entertaining, but there's some parts in it that's really entertaining. So please show your support, to our city and the residents of our city. It's the first time we've ever put on a community play, and we're already making plans for next year. But
6:30, right, Manny?
6:30, both Friday and Saturday night. There's plenty of parking and plenty of room. I mean, that auditorium holds about 700 people, and we've advertised as best we can, but I would sure like to get it up on the sign out front for the next 2 days if we could. It's just called the Freeport Passion, the Freeport Passion Play.
And it's tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night and Saturday night.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Consideration.
Thank you.
Do we need any type of motion to put it on the sign?
Mayor, if you feel willing to
Okay,
do
we'll
so.
take care of it for you. Kathy, if you'll take care of that, please.
Yes, sir.
Hello again, William McCormick, County Commissioner District 1. First of all, I didn't come here planning on speaking on this matter. Of course, I didn't know it was on the agenda because it was an add-on. I'm back to Ms. Brandon's comments about this transfer station conversation. Also, I live in the city and I have concerns about stuff like that. I drafted the ordinance
Yeah.
for this. But let me just, I'm not going to speak on things that haven't come before the board yet. Let me tell you where we're at. The vote the other day was to move forward to see about purchasing the land. There's no development order. We're not even close to that yet. So it was just a vote to move forward. That's public record. I'm not disclosing anything.
Was it to buy the land you said, or to look at buying the land? To purchase it?
Put it under contract.
They put it under contract.
So you're buying the land,
Now,
right?
let me bring something to light here. This has been on the drawing board for 2 years. Where's the city been?
I hadn't heard about it being on the board. I just heard about it
There's been
recently.
conversation about this at meetings and multiple meetings and stuff. And I'm sorry that communication didn't get out. But this is not a backdoor trying to do anything. This has been a project work. We looked at 3 locations. The decision was made to put it in the middle of the county, in my district. Now, just tell you where I'm at with it. I had 3 conditions if this is going to go in my district. 1, it can't be inside the city limits. That was one of the conditions for me to vote for. 2, it had to be in an area that we can pretty much camouflage. You know, I don't want to see this driving down the road. And that it have a station where people in South Walton don't have to haul a trailer all the way to Defuniak to drop off a refrigerator. So that was my 3 must-haves for me to support this. In reference to this property, the depth of that property, the reason this worked out, we looked at 3 different locations. This allows us to come on the back side of that property, cut a road in there, utilizing the north side of that property, the 10 acres that's needed for this, and leave that buffer to the road. And another issue too, let me just go ahead and address, is, and these are comments I get into, I'm getting beat up about this too, but was traffic. Be mindful, I don't need to tell any of y'all, we have 1 artery. These trucks that will be going in and out of there are on Highway 20 already. You can't get to the service areas or to the neighborhoods without traveling 20. It is not going to add traffic. Now, again, just keeping it where it's at today. There will be more meetings on this, and I will try to my best to give y'all a heads up when these meetings, and y'all can have your citizens or whatever come to these meetings. But this is on the county, and have you people come and give their input at these meetings. And like you said, there's no sense beating you guys up about this, whether they don't like it. But send them my direction. I don't see y'all take a beat for something.
Well, I agree with them. I think it's the wrong place, and that's just my opinion. That's why I was stating my opinion under my name, and I didn't ask for any letters of support, opposing, or anything to it. I think it's the wrong place. I think the property's got to be rezoned. All of the people that live in that area are not happy with it. The people that are trying to develop the area aren't happy that that's going to go in there. And while the county has just put it under contract, you know, you say, where was Freeport? Well, every time I've asked about it, nobody, you know, it's been very vague. I've never even been told, but maybe 2 of the locations, and this wasn't even one of them, I was told where it was being looked at.
Did you ever
Because,
ask me?
yes, I sure did. As a matter of fact, I asked you when we were out here, when you were doing the shovel, when we were getting ready for the grand opening or the ribbon cutting for the shovel ceremony out here, I asked you about that, and you would not tell me. The only one you told me was right down here, that surrounded Waste Pro. You said that, but if you're talking about there being, you know, and I heard them say the other day that y'all been looking for 6 years. Well, I wasn't aware that you were looking for 6 years. And you want to know where Freeport's at? Freeport didn't know anything about it. If you know, I'm speaking on behalf of myself. I didn't know anything about it. So I've been trying to get information on it, and that was
a good place to put a transfer station?
Well, you know, Boots, I have no idea right now, but you know what? There's thousands of acres in this county, and I'm sure there's somewhere else that's probably a better spot to put it than where y'all are wanting to put it. But you know, you've got a lot of.
This is not a done deal, so I'm looking.
But y'all put the land under contract though, but Commissioner, isn't that done? I mean, y'all are buying the land, right? It can't be undone, can it? they'll vote to buy it.
I cannot speak about
No,
issues
the
that.
contract, all county contracts have complete out clauses up to the
Okay.
day of
Yeah.
closing. So
It may
I
financially
mean,
fall apart.
What are we gonna do about the smell? Like, that's the biggest, because I have friends building in their dream house, like, across the street, and I mean, that's just gonna be destroyed
Listen,
now,
y'all had a
because
long
it's gonna
day.
stink.
I will say this, and I will back off, because I know you have a long day.
It's okay.
What are you gonna do about, you just sat here and approved putting a sewer, talking about putting a sewer plant surrounded by residential up.
It's on 86 acres, and ours, I thought these are like, they don't have smell, I mean, they're
Yeah, but
not,
what's
it's an
around it?
industrial park, but they
What
don't
is around, what
smell.
is around?
Wetlands.
Wetlands?
It's gonna
It's
be-
wetlands on this
And
parcel.
residential.
Acres and acres away from any
86 acre
residential
parcel.
development.
That's an
Councilman
86
Day.
acre.
But
But I
Okay.
don't think it smells like a
Councilman Day.
transfer station now.
I understand your concern about the transfer station. Before you get so hard set against it and see how it operates, you need to set up and go up there and take a tour of the transfer station that's there now. I'm not talking about out here where they dump all the metal and tires and all that. I'm talking about the transfer station itself. Everything's kept inside. No garbage water's
they
leaking
don't stay
down,
there.
leaking anywhere, it's just contained. I mean, it's a lot different from what it used to be. They dumped it in the ground and buried it. They're not doing that anymore. The transfer station, it stays inside the building, gets dumped out of our trucks on a concrete floor. It's about 12 inches thick or more. And it's dumped right into another trailer and it's hauled off, clear out of the county. Until you see how it's done and understand and even smell, you go stand there by the prison, you're not gonna hardly smell it. Because of the way they're handling it. You need to learn what you're talking about before you start putting it down. I worked in business for 35 years. And it's the best thing that's ever happened in Walker County when they put that transfer station up there because it stopped all what y'all worried about. You don't run into the creeks no more.
Well,
It's not-
I've been
it's
to
not
a
there.
couple transfer stations, and I don't know where your nose is at, but I know I can smell them before I can get
Maybe I'm
into
not
them.
sensitive
So,
as you're-
you know, I don't know. I have
It's
been
not-
to a
it's not
couple of
nothing like
transfer
this
stations.
mess was out here.
No, it's not. And that's, you know, we had to fight hard against that to
And
get that
technology,
stopped.
just since we built our transfer station in the north end, technology's come a long way. One more thing I want to point out was why the idea of a transfer station. The county will build it, the county will own it. Now, our contract comes up in about a year and a half. I cannot sit here and tell you which way that would go at this point in time.
Right.
But it would be run by whoever has a contract. Part of my support of that, it gives us some leverage negotiating these contracts. Because let's face it, you've got a truck full of garbage here in Freeport or South Walton. And they got to send that crew and truck all the way to the landfill up next to prison. That is money being spent. And we can cut down that transfer part of that. It puts, I would even say, the city of Freeport in a little bit of a better negotiation stance. And the fact that we own the transfer station. Again, nobody likes transfer stations. Nobody likes sewer plants. I get it. But, you know, there's two sides to every story. And I'd be glad, by the way, we're working off the conceptual plan. We don't even have an engine. We ain't that far yet. Right now, we're prospecting on problem. But again, thank y'all for what you're doing. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Barry.
I'll just send anybody your information that
I
we
expect
can
that.
control that. That's fine.
It's not fair.
Because it's
This
on
is
the
in the
line,
county.
so I think people
Y'all-
were confused.
y'all
so
know where I'm at.
We'll send them to you.
Send them to me. There's no sense y'all taking punches from me, all right? Because when they come to my office about y'all's activity, I send them to them.
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Any other comment, public comment? Yes, ma'am?
Sorry, I'm going to go to hopefully happier things. Christine Bacon, the ACON. I had a couple questions. One in regards to the anchor, the first statement, it said, join the effort to beautify Freeport, Florida. I would like to do that. I've been trying to do that, specifically in front of the library since August of 2021. There's been some confusion as to who can approve or give permission to clean up the flower beds that are in there. I was given permission from Charlie Simmons, then I was given permission from Mr. Martin. I was also given permission by Travis, And there were some things that have happened and transpired, and I would just like clarity on.
You have to submit a landscaping plan that meets the requirements of the Land Development Code for approval. What you submitted does not. I'm going
That's
to
fine,
give
you
you a
can
complete
yank
list.
that, because that, I had it all, anyway, it was, everything was being donated. That is now ending. But I would like clarity for you all as well.
You come to my department, you make an appointment, we sit down and we go through the process with you.
Perfect. In North Carolina, where I had come from, we had a beautification of the area, and the city or the county that I lived in, they would give us reflector vests and gloves and bags, and we had a day of a community cleanup. I would encourage you all, maybe that we can do that, something like that. I'm just putting a bug in your ear so that we can get our city pretty again, or not again, but just to.
What do you think? I'm sorry, I'm speaking. What needs to be cleaned up?
Just
Because
like
I
a
think
day
our
of
parks team
cleanup.
does a great job, like keeping all of our public areas pretty clean. So if there's something we need to address, we
No,
can
this is
address
more for
that.
civic unity, just to get things done.
Gotcha, I
The
understand.
ICU man gentleman, there's a gentleman in Hammock Bay that's constantly cleaning up
Oh, gotcha.
little things. I'm just saying,
I understand.
like, we were part of a Boy Scout troop, and they adopted an area, and they erected a sign, and we came and we cleaned up.
Gotcha.
And there are a lot of people, and unfortunately, whatever, the recycling plant right there.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, maybe there's a way that we can repaint the sign. He unfortunately is getting the brunt end of the closures because everybody's dumping their junk there, and that's unfortunate. I've talked to his son, and it's just sad. So anyway, I was just thinking that maybe we could do that. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
The only thing about him is he's in the county, he's not in the
Oh,
city.
yes, that I do know. I do know that. I'm just saying that that's something.
Oh, I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's not very pretty.
Thank you.
I wanted to make a comment.
Just for my part of this piece, when it was presented to me, it was replacing a couple of the dead plants in front of the library, which I did say it was fine.
Yeah.
Then once I found out and was told there was a little bit more to it than that, I went to Matilda and asked her whatever, and then she told me and has told them, this is what you gotta do, so.
Yeah, that's fine.
Kathy?
As far as the last thing that she asked about, and about the
Recycle.
recycle place, the last I heard, FDOT was supposed to be cleaning up that area and installing signs and perhaps cameras, because that area is a huge problem. I want to say about the landscaping, I recognize that the governmental complex is under Matilda. Her and I had a conversation. She told me about she needed a site plan. I immediately said I cannot add this to the agenda until
Right.
you go through that process.
Right.
And so I'm not going to add it until it's time.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
so I don't want
You
to.
can remove it. The one I submitted can be just ripped up, okay? Because it does not matter anymore.
Okay, any other comments? Meeting's adjourned.